You're listening to Honey, We Made a Disney Podcast. Two friends since getting picked last for dodgeball. Now kids reliving the Disney movies we grew up on with our own kids. I'm Eddie Ferguson.
And I'm JB Waggoner. And on today's episode, we find secret valleys and random horses as we review the Young Black Stallion. But first, Eddie, you've been all over the place. You've been on some trips here and there. What's going on? What's happening with you and the family? It's been a while.
It has been a while since we've chatted. First of all, I have to say you wrote the intro, and that hits a little too close to home
for the both of us.
I'm a little. I was truly picked last. Like, you have a little bit more athletic talent than me. I'm not saying you're like
fake it.
You're.
Did you feel like you got hit with a dodgeball, but to your heart?
I was always the kid like, I'm not going to try too hard at this because I fail at the things that I try too hard.
But frisbee, you were right up there. You were one of the top frisbeers.
I am.
Discers,
when it comes to ultimate frisbee, I was really good at. I was on an ultimate frisbee intramural team in
You took
college.
it very seriously.
Took it very seriously. And then, I'm decent at disc golf. I've been known to shoot par, not too bad. No, but from family wise, we are, Lewis is like 4.5, like, he feels more like a 5-year-old. We feel like we've tipped over. You know how you just kind of, you feel these moments and you spend so much time together on trips and you just get a little bit more time. You really feel that. And right now, he is trying to constantly discern whether or not you are serious about something or if you're joking.
Are you joking? Are you joking?
And his way of asking is he'll go, Daddy, you be kidding. Daddy, you be kidding.
Oh, it's adorable.
It is. It's adorable. It's cute. But it's also like constant.
Yep.
And you would think like by the tone of my voice, you would discern I am not be kidding. I am being very serious right now. And you need to listen and obey me, But it's so hard because you're just like, you're coming down hard on something of like, you need to listen and obey me right now. Like, this could have serious consequences if you don't. And then he asks that, like, Daddy, you be kidding. And it just breaks me every time. And it's all I can do not to laugh right in the midst of it all.
Yeah, ours is definitely, are you joking? Are you joking? And he loves it. He loves it most of the time. I'm joking.
Well, and it's interesting because they can't figure those things out. Like, they just don't have enough life, and this is how they learn. They got to learn it. And it's all those things where I was thinking about this today. There's your role as a parent is to like be the beating bag, like the punching bag for your kids to learn all of the things not to do to other people.
We don't do this.
Right. Oh yeah. No, like we don't. And the, God bless Bluey. We do love Bluey, but the whole climbing Daddy Mountain, my kids want to constantly climb Daddy Mountain. And it's just like, no, Daddy Mountain has a raging headache right now and can't handle being climbed on top of right now.
That's most of my time whenever I come home from work is just lay on the carpet and then the kids jump and climb and do whatever. But then sometimes they jump really hard at me, they bounce off and then they hit the ground and then they look at you like you did something. Yeah.
Like, why did you do this to me? It's like, do you know how much pain I endure for you? For you to grow up and, be a normal human being, Lord willing. But enough about me. We have a ton of Disney news to get to. before we review this riveting film that we have before us today.
We'll leave a lot of time for the Young Black Stallion, that's for sure.
Lots of time. We gotta do all this. But the big impetus, reason, catalyst for all of this news, 2 weeks ago, Disney had their first earnings call since Bob Iger took back over as CEO of the Walt Disney Company. And, these earnings calls are, lots laid out, scripted, but it's for management, higher ups to speak directly to investors. And also, I don't think on this one that there are questions. I don't recall this one having questions. Sometimes they do. So with that, he shared quite a lot. JB, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, I mean, the big news is that they're going to start pulling back the reins on the Disney Plus content. That was one of the big nuggets from this earnings call is they've just been spending. And the best way you can kind of describe it that I've heard described is that Netflix kind of set the tone for this, but they just spent to get into the game. And then as all these other ones started spinning up theirs, they started having to spend as well, because the idea was subscribers. Well, very recently, all of these platforms started changing to profitability. They finally had to start answering to their stockholders, hey, how come you guys are still a loss leader? Why are you still wasting money? Not wasting, but wasting money, but why are you losing money? We want to start seeing some of that money back. And basically Netflix has been the only one to basically earn profitability. And so basically this is the first big pullback, even after they just like a year ago launched that, hey, these are all the new shows coming. Here's all the new content. And they're basically, Marvel is the big one here that is going to have to change a lot of what they're doing.
Yeah, which I think is good in the long run. I think one of the things that we've seen from this phase 4 is an oversaturation.
Yep.
There's just been way too much. It hasn't been nearly the same level of storytelling.
Yeah, like 4 to 5 different series in the plus all the movies.
And one I stopped watching, even though you begged me to continue to watch it.
Over and over again.
And the other, She-Hulk, I have not watched a single minute of that show. I have no interest whatsoever. So I think overall, I think this is a win, especially for Marvel content. I think that this will maybe help, raise the bar, focus in on a few really good things.
Yeah, so there were supposed to be 5 different series to come out this year in 2023. What If Season 2, Echo, which is a branch off of the Hawkeye series, Loki Season 2, Ironheart, Agatha, Coven of Chaos, as well as I can never remember the name of it. The Hidden there's another series that was supposed to happen. Or was that that's Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion is the one with Nick Fury.
Yes. So there was a bunch of going to be a bunch of new content for Marvel out this year. And basically the only things that I'm seeing, according to the Hollywood Reporter, that should most likely come out this year, and the rest of it's kind of a giant question mark, is Loki and Secret Invasion, both of which
That's what I heard too.
They're both very pivotal and very big, and they're the closest one to being going, but specifically Echo, Ironheart, and Agatha, Coven of Chaos, all of those are like, they might get pushed a year.
Yeah. I think Agatha was the only one that I was kind of like, oh, okay, that's intriguing. I like Catherine Hahn. I think, the character's compelling.
I'd be sad if she got her whole show cut, though. I'd be so sad.
I would be that, but I think that's the only one I would be sad over. Like, none of the other ones was I like, ooh, that sounds interesting.
I just think that Ironheart and Echo both, I'm sure, will play into the overall narrative. I'm interested to see how that ripple effect
Ironheart
happens.
was in Wakanda Forever.
Yep.
So that, yeah, I could see that. Could understand that.
I'm just interested to see how many of these are, because they have just this tight web of all the show. Now the shows and the movies are like integral. Whereas when we first started, there was kind of this idea, you only have to watch the movies and we'll let you know what happens. Now all that's out the window. All of it's out the window.
Is it though? Because WandaVision was amazing, and then they just chucked it out the window for Doctor Strange.
But you still had her kids in that. And if you just jumped in, they're like, what are all these kids? What are all these kids doing?
Yeah, I'm still bitter at that movie, undoing that, how great that was. The other part of this is Star Wars. We didn't get anything announced, just hinted, nudged at, was the idea of seeing more Star Wars films.
Yes.
And possibly, and I don't, did they come out right and say it, or is it more alluded at with the Marvel stuff that you'll probably see a slowing of even some of the Star Wars TV content?
I haven't seen anything about that yet, unless I missed that part in the article. The Star Wars feels like they're not pushing it back, but they're actually going to revive the theatrical. Like theatrical is really where they're going to start putting more of their bread and butter back into that. Like they need to make these tentpole films, and there's no Star Wars films, or even a slot for a Star Wars film is basically where we're at now until 2025. But I think that the Damon Lindelof, that's going to be the next one that's going to actually hopefully get into theaters here, which I'm super excited about because I've been dying for more actual Star Wars movies to be able to go see in theaters.
For sure. There was multiple moments with Andor in particular that I thought this would play really cool up on a big screen. Like, I just want to see this up on something big. This might be jumping ahead a little bit with all the sequels, but did you hear the announcement that they are also looking at extending the theatrical release windows?
Oh, yeah.
That the previously, I think they were saying like 45 days. It looks like that they're going to extend that out even further.
Back to 90 days, like most films?
Yeah. They didn't come out and say exactly. I think the quote was more along the lines like, and we're exploring extending out these theatrical windows.
Because the thing we were mad about, they took Pixar and went straight to Disney Plus during COVID, and then they brought it back to theaters, and people were like, well, I'll just wait.
Yep. Well, in essence, I think that is the big learning from all of this is they took 3 of their strongest brands, Marvel, Star Wars, and Pixar, and made them just streaming content, right? And it did nothing for them. It didn't do, so you took 3 very strong brands, reduced them, I'll say that, to a streaming content, and it didn't lift up streaming. It didn't make it, the new place to go. I think what they're learning is streaming replaces DVDs. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't replace the theater. It doesn't replace, trying to push things into the zeitgeist.
And the problem with that is that AMC doesn't realize that they're having a problem getting people into theaters. So they're now changing their ticket prices to like events where now if you want to
heard about this.
Yeah. So if you want to sit in the middle section in the best seats, you now have to pay more than someone on the outskirts, on like the aisles and on the edges. And I'm like, you guys realize that you're giving people less incentive to come to the theater, right? Like,
right.
Oh, it's going to cost me more now. I know. And I know people are like, well, it's going to be cheaper on I don't care about any of that stuff. Like,
I always sit in the middle.
Yeah. My theater doesn't even have assigned seating. Like it's an older model theater. And so they're going to have to revamp all of that. And I'm just like, how is raising prices going to actually make this
more?
Bring people back to the theater? So I think we're in a weird spot now where ton of things shifted to streaming online, and then now they're like, oh, we're not making the money that we hoped. Okay, let's try to recoup. Let's try to get back to where we were at, which is already kind of declining, and it's a messy middle. It's going to be really rough for a while.
Well, and I think that's why Disney is pivoting and saying, okay, then let's bring back the stuff we know makes money in the box office. That's why Frozen 3 is announced. Ooh. Toy Story 5 is announced. You say this next one.
Zootopia 2, the sequel to Zootopia. Yeah. I know you hate that one. Here's my question. We've been waiting for a Frozen 3. That's not crazy. Like it was going to happen. They couldn't not do it, but
I agree. And I'm out of all of these, even though it's previously announced, let's just throw in there Inside Out 2, right? I would say I was most excited to hear about a Frozen 3. Because I particularly loved Frozen 2. I thought there was a very strong story. The songs, everything. Like I'm like, okay, I felt like you matched the original. Toy Story 5.
Where do you think they're going to go with it? They're going to follow Buzz or they're going to follow Woody? Which one?
Well, so that's what's perplexing in all of this is. And probably what I struggled the most with Toy Story 4, I think, my personal opinion, what makes the 3 originals so strong is they are this buddy movie, right? Like you get Buzz and Woody. You get this great playing off of the two characters. In 4 is a Woody movie through and through. I just rewatched it with the kids. And Buzz is an afterthought. Like there were so many moments in that movie where I'm like, they're going, oh, we need more Buzz. What can we do here with Buzz? That was the sense that I got. So I don't know. Like I'm afraid they're going to go off with just, they have to go off with Woody. Buzz just got his own standalone movie and it didn't do that great. So I think they got to like pivot, go, nope, we're going Woody again. So I could see that being some grand epic adventure with Woody and Bo Peep. But then we discover that something has happened to Buzz and Woody has to go and save Buzz.
We've said goodbye. That's why this movie should not exist.
I agree.
We've already said goodbye to everybody. It should not exist. We don't need this. I will probably still go see it, but it shouldn't exist. And I don't know what is going to be so compelling. It's going to be shoehorned to get them back together. That's what I'm afraid of this film. I'm so afraid that that's what's going to happen is what you've just laid out.
I would put this on similar footing with Cars on the Road. I felt like have you watched?
Yes, I'm waiting to see where we're going to take this. That's why I stopped talking.
I felt like they had a few random ideas for a new Cars movie, and somebody just spoke up and just went, "No, let's just let it be. How about we just throw these onto like a little series, a little limited series?" And that played so much better as just a quick limited series. It was great. If you would have tried to make that into a full movie, though, I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much. And I think we're going to have the opposite with Toy Story 5. I think we're going to get this little stream of little things, and we're going to get to the end of the movie and just go, if you would have just made like a little limited series, maybe that would have worked. But I don't see that this was going to work. I think this 4 was the edge of like, I think you've overstayed your welcome.
It looked beautiful.
Beautiful.
It still did quite well compared to what, like with what it had to work with and what it was.
5 is going to be the moment where we go
Forky. Come on,
too much of a good thing.
Forky is amazing. I love Forky. Forky's one of my favorite instant classic character, but at the same time, they dodged a bullet. This movie shouldn't have happened. Toy Story 5 should still not happen. I'm gonna put my stake in the ground. I am very intrigued by and scared of what they're gonna try to do with that.
Yeah, it'll be. I don't know. It's shocking that they pulled on Toy Story. I feel like they have so many other big successes.
Moana.
Well, I mean, you're looking Pixar, right? So,
yes.
Zootopia and Frozen are two from Walt Disney Animation. Toy Story 5 and Inside Out 2 are your two from Pixar. I just feel like, okay, let me ask you this question then. If they didn't pull on Toy Story, what other Pixar franchise, quote unquote, would you want them to create or go into another? I know mine.
Oh, I know you already. So Moana is Disney Animation. That's why you were saying that one would.
Right. So I'm saying to you, what Pixar?
Okay, so they are doing Inside Out. So there we go. They could have done something more with Coco. That would have been fun, although it's a very specific area, although you're giving the hands down no.
No. Coco stands on its own so well. Just let Coco be.
Even just saying that they were going to go after another, I know they just came. No, that's not Pixar. Man, I'm having a hard time now because they've done a lot of sequels inside of there, and some of the older ones like A Bug's Life, that's way too old to suddenly try to do another one. Like some of the classics are so early on. Man, that's a hard one. What is it for you then? Which one do you like to see them revisit?
I'd like to see a third Incredibles.
Oh, round out that story.
Yeah. I think that would have been a smarter move to go Incredible, make Incredibles a full on. You've already got two solid, really good films there. Let's take that one home. I think that
no
one
good dinosaur. You don't want to see a bad dinosaur.
No, I'm good. I'm good with that one. I honestly, we've talked about this one a lot. It has grown on me slowly and is now becoming more and more one of Lewis and I's favorites. I could go for another Onward.
Yep, that would have a lot of material. That's
a strong world, great characters. I think you could do something really, really great there. So that's where I'm perplexed. Like, why are we dipping back into Toy Story?
Because it's the original. It's the OG. They gotta keep mining that for new stuff.
And I mean, it drives multiple elements of the business, right? Like everything. There are so many Toy Story lands all around in the parks. Like they've got to think, okay, we need box office, but we also need people coming into the parks and spending money and merchandising. Like Toy Story is out the wazoo with merchandising. That's where Cars on the Road, I was shocked how much merchandising they did for that show. It's like, well, yeah, of course. That was the bread and butter of the whole Cars thing is you can sell a ton of merchandising.
Yeah, that's why I think that I would say if you've got Toy Story and you've got Cars, those are the two biggest Pixar properties, franchises, whatever, inside of the bigger franchise. Yeah, I understand why they did it, but I'm still like, we don't need more movies. Just come out with limited edition, blah 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 blah.
I as much as they're risky and there's been some huge fire and miss lately, I do love original story. Like give me something new. Give me something that I didn't know I wanted.
I didn't know that I wanted a panda movie.
I didn't want that, and I still don't want it. But like something like Luca, I would love to. That for me, I think is still going to come out of this like 2-3 year period. That'll be my favorite Pixar film of all of the ones that have come out recently. And I'm sad that I didn't get to see that up on the big screen. I think that's a beautiful movie and would have loved to have seen it up there.
Another thing that was kind of buried inside of all of these reports that came out was that there was 7,000 employees laid off from Disney, a lot from the Disney Plus area. You got strong feelings about this, Eddie. I see you're leaning into the mic already.
And I take a deep breath. Well, I mean, this is happening across the board. And from what I've read and listened to, it looks like, especially in the tech industry, it's the magic number is all these businesses have decided somewhere around 6%. And so it's like, I feel like there was little backroom negotiations.
Yeah.
The thing with the Disney employees laid off, what's funny, not funny at all. A lot of those jobs are already unfilled, that they are posted jobs to be filled, and they're just not going to fill them. So to say that 7,000 employees are being laid off isn't totally true. Like, there's 7,000 positions being eliminated is the more accurate way, though that the way it's been kind of put out there is a little different. And what I read is a lot of those is coming from marketing. That apparently Disney has still had a lot of people like for magazine and newspaper and like old school marketing that they've been just carrying these positions. And so some of that is like, nope, Google Ads does a lot of that work for us. We don't need to pay somebody to act like they are.
Yeah. And I think that was some of what the whole Nelson Peltz try-on proxy fight was over. That was one of their big tenets, was making the cuts to stop overspending on all of these things, and laying off some of the workers was a piece of that too. And that's why they came out and said that basically they're done with their fight. They're done. We've been appeased. We don't need to be in this fight anymore. Well, suddenly it's all better.
The number one thing that he was looking for was he wanted the stock dividend returned. And that was the other thing that Iger announced in this call, is that by the middle of this year, the stock dividends will be returned to stockholders. So that's really what this guy was hunting for. He wants more money. He doesn't want just... He doesn't
the
want
good
just
of the park. They bring the magic
value.
back.
No. You just want money. This is all this comes down to.
I thought it was thought it was interesting that suddenly, they have met all of our demands. We've moved on. We didn't need the board all along. See, and I'm just like, it feels so fishy. Like, when are they going to come back with more demands? Like later on, when something doesn't go their way,
when they don't actually pay out the stock dividend, that's what it comes down to. And I think, also within this, you had the reorganization of the company with ESPN, Parks, and then all other media. So there's a lot of speculation. Are they going to sell off ESPN? Are they not? Yeah. He also made a comment on the call about Hulu, where people thought it was just a sure bet that in 2024, when they get the option to buy Comcast remaining third, that they were just going to do that. Iger alluded to the fact of like, no, actually, we may be willing to sell our part to them or whatever.
Wow.
Which reignites this whole conversation over the consolidation that we're gonna see streaming shrink. Which needs to happen. It desperately needs to happen.
But the price will go up as it shrinks.
Oh, yes. And that's what Disney needs right now. That's what they need in the next 2 years. They need cash because they're sitting on $38 billion in debt.
You know what they need, Eddie? They need to baby step their way out.
Yes, they do. Yeah, they need the debt snowball. How do you? What is your
lowest debt? Is it $7 billion? Is it $3 billion?
Well, we bought this massive thing called Fox and had to put most of that on a credit card. And yeah, so that's the big thing hanging over all of them, is just the mountain of debt. and they need to start paying these stockholders their dividends and their parts of it all. So, and you know what's not going to help with that?
What?
Doesn't look like Ant-Man and Quantumania is gonna help with that too much.
No, they actually were happy with that number. That's what they all.
They were
thought.
happy.
Yeah,
with 120.
Yeah, they were. They said that that's one of the best February openings.
Seems low for a Marvel.
So it's 240 million global for the opening weekend. It's the best figure from an Ant-Man film.
Oh, okay.
From an opening Ant-Man release. China did not do very well according to the Hollywood Reporter, but 120 was what they were expected to make, and that turned out good. They're not getting very good word of mouth after the exit polling after the movie. People seeing the movie.
It's the first time I've ever heard exit polling used for a movie.
Exit polling, the exits, receipts. I forget what the term is for it. Basically asking people, did you like the film? Did you not?
So are people not liking it?
There is mixed reviews. Rotten Tomato is not favorable for it right now. But Eddie, you have not seen this film yet, so I do not want to sway you any which direction. If you have a chance to see it this weekend, then we can talk about it on the podcast next week.
I'm going to try. I do want to see it. I mean, Marvel movies are still fun spectacles to go. Like, you and I both don't need too much of a reason or an excuse to go to the movies. Though I missed a couple of windows here, just with everything that we've had going on.
Yep.
There, a couple of movies came out for 1 week and 1 week only here, and then left the theater. Like, I wanted to see The Fabelmans, and it's already gone. It's only out for 1 week.
Yeah, I want to see that too. It's got Oscar buzz.
And then M. Night Shyamalan's new movie, Knock at the Cabin.
Big M. Night Shyamalan fan over there.
But it was in and out within a week, and so I missed it all. So this will be my excuse to get back to the movies as soon as family is healthy enough that I can slip out for a little bit. So we'll see. I'm assuming you saw it.
Yes, I went and saw it.
Giving no opinion.
And I'm waiting for you to finish it up so that we can have a good, healthy conversation about that. Hopefully next week.
Did you pay to sit in the middle of the theater?
The theater that I went to does not currently have that pay structure. So okay. I sat wherever I pleased for a matinee price.
Look at you. Such a communist.
Such a communist.
Not in favor of the free market. Come on.
No, not at all. But I am in favor of us actually finishing off today's episode with the movie that we were here to talk about as we close out 2003. This is the last air quote film of 2003 before we head into the last 2 years on this journey as we go from 1988 to 2005, aka our childhood. But today's film is the movie that I didn't even know existed until I had to turn on my TV and figure out what the movie was we were supposed to be watching this weekend. And that is The Young Black Stallion.
Cue the Disney sound effect.
Okay, IMDb description for The Young Black Stallion is this. Just hold on to your horses, Eddie. It's going to take a little bit. A young girl befriends a wild black stallion. That's it. That is the exact IMDb description.
Okay.
And they spent about as much time on that description as they did on this story for this film. Eddie, what were your reactions? Because I'm guessing you had never seen this film before.
I had never seen this film before. My first reaction was like, as I go to like tap on it on my iPad to watch it, I went, wait, what does that say? Does that say 51 minutes?
51 minutes.
And I like No, like, and so I thought there was like an issue with Disney Plus. So I like literally started it, then paused it, scrubbed to the end and went to see the timestamp. Oh, this is only 51 minutes. Okay. Scrub, back to the beginning. Then this story starts with a lot of me scrubbing. The movie starts with a white stallion running through a thunderstorm. Yes. And I have the thought like, I thought this was the young black stallion, right? Interesting. Then there's like a flash of lightning and all of a sudden the horse turns black. And I'm like, what? Huh? Is this how this movie's about like a magical horse that, and then I'm going, no, there's no, maybe that horse was black at the beginning. So I scrub back to the back of the movie again. And I'm watching it and I pause it and I'm like, no, that is a white horse. That is definitely a white horse. And so I start this movie so confused, totally bamboozled. And it's not, until 10, 15 minutes in that you like, oh, like there's she gave birth to this horse. But the way that it's filmed, the way that it's thrown out, like it looks like the horse magically turns black, in my opinion.
The weird shaping of some of the rocks in that opening scene made me think that it was on the moon.
Yes.
I'm like, are they in another world?
I have the same exact
What is
thought.
going on here?
I'm going, that's why I'm going, is this magical? Is this like
horse?
Maybe this is like some science fiction film set somewhere else? Because I have no context for this movie whatsoever. As you just described for us, the description gives you nothing.
Less than zero.
And so I thought the same thing. I'm like, this is a magical horse set like on another planet or something. And then all of a sudden we're in the Sahara Desert and then there's like Nazi tanks.
Yep.
Right. So I'm like,
that look like toys. That look like toy tanks.
My initial thought is like, of course this is the Nazis' fault. Everything is the Nazis' fault.
Some really beautiful, really, really red sunsets, like overly saturated sunsets.
Yes. And like
17 of them of the same thing over and over and over again.
And I feel for the editor because the editor must have known like, I have 30 minutes worth of material here. And I have got to, you've sat there more than me. You know when you've got to stretch something.
Stretch this thing. We got a lot of montages we got to do here.
And about the fifth sunset or sunrise, I'm like, okay, I know what you're doing here. You're trying to make this not a 50-minute film, a 51-minute film. And that extra minute is sunsets and sunrises.
The thing that was like baffling to me was this girl was apparently stranded in the desert for days and looked like she had barely gotten dirty.
No cracking of the lips.
That's the key characteristic
that's
in
always
every
the characteristic.
Film. The cracked lips, no. She's a little dusty. Could do with a little shake, and then that like to get it all off. That was baffling to me. And then she somehow lives through all of this with the horse, and the horse saves her life or something. And then she doesn't see the horse for a year, and then it comes back on the day, like days before the next race or whatever. And I'm like, what is going on?
I didn't track all of that. Like you saying that now, I'm just now.
You didn't see the giant scroll that said 1 year later.
No, I must have like passed out for a second because I totally missed that.
No, there is no real plot to this thing. They're migrating through the desert, then some bad guys come in and break it up, but then the grandpa still lives even though he got like his whole caravan got taken over. Couldn't the girl just stay there Did she really need to run off if the grandpa was going to be fine all along from Monsoon or whatever the dude's name is that took over?
This story, there is no story and it's so hard to track. Like, I had to look this up and go, wait, why was this even made?
Can I tell you why this was made, Eddie?
I have a guess, but please tell me.
There's a little thing that I don't know if it was at the bottom of the poster or in the credits or whatever, or it was, but in my research, what it said is this movie was not made for TV. This was made for IMAX.
Yes. Exclusively in IMAX theaters.
This was like, so growing up, to talk about that on this podcast, that I didn't get to go to the theater till I was later on in high school before that happened. But the one place that we did get to go see movies in theaters was at the History Museum with the IMAX. And that's where we saw things like Lewis and Clark, Traversing through America, other educational films like that, where it's dramatized, but it's based on narrative. This is that. This is 100% what I would have seen with my family at the IMAX at the History Museum.
Which makes sense. The runtime of 51 minutes. Okay, now that makes sense.
The crazy amount of oversaturated sunsets. You want to get that big spectacle for the IMAX theater.
Those movies are always 45 minutes to an hour tops. So that way you can get multiple showings.
No name actors in it.
Right. And the cinematography is probably the strongest point of this whole film.
That's where they spent all their money on, just that cinematography.
You've got great, I don't know. I mean, is this helicopter shots flying through the valleys, like these canyons? Like it is this is the Sahara Desert. Like, this is North Africa. Okay, that's. It could play just as much as like a nature documentary as anything.
The place where they shot her training the horse was so incredible. Like, looked
Beautiful.
like straight out of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Kind of a world, and made me go like, how did you get here from the desert, but maybe geographically they're close together or whatever?
Well, they filmed it this is interesting. They filmed it in South Africa and in Namibia. Which is got the deserts, but it also has a lot of those green kind of hidden areas, kind of like the jungly Africa parts as well, which North Africa really doesn't. Like, North Africa is the Sahara Desert.
I want to dig in and talk about the story, but there really isn't much of one here. It's a girl. She gets lost in the desert. Finds this magical horse that leads her back. Her grandpa lost all the horses because of these invaders, and he had to sell everything off. And now a year later, the horse comes in, they train it, and then they go do this big race. Like, that's it. Oh, and I forgot, grandpa was too busy at the hookah bar to take care of the little girl. And so then the little girl entered the thing, and he didn't realize till it was too late.
There you go. I think I don't know. If you would have seen this on an IMAX screen, do you think that it would change your opinion of this at all?
When I was 12, maybe I would have. I liked watching this.
You were quite the horse lover at 12.
Quite the horse lover. Prevalent. I was begging my parents to buy me a pony when I was growing up. No, but even now, like I'm sure some of those things would have been cool to see in an IMAX, like some of those vistas and stuff like that. But overall, if there was no character, person, scenario that I was like fighting for, like maybe a little bit in the horse race that she would win, but you knew she was going to win. Like, there was no,
right. There's no other way.
No. And of course she had all of one training montage to show that she had some level of skill or whatever.
That's what did this movie in for me, is we didn't get the epic training montage.
Where she goes from, she falls off the horse, then
I needed
breaks
more.
the horse to keep her on. No.
It was too easy. Give me a true epic training montage. That's what you could have given me a good 10-minute training montage.
Mm-hmm.
And we could have gotten a solid hour.
Eddie, I think I know where they could have cherry picked one from. Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken. They could have pulled it from that. And
I just love that you remember that movie.
Oh, it's inscribed in my psyche for the rest of my life.
Such a good movie. Such a good movie. Classic. Did you notice the producers on this?
They had big name producers on this.
Yeah, you had Frank Marshall, Kathleen Kennedy, a couple other heavy hitters here.
And somehow this thing still bombed.
I think you hit the nail right on the head. They needed IMAX content. This, light story, somewhat based off of something Disney's already known for with the Black Stallion. Let's just do this, slap Disney's name on it, and it'll make more than what it would without it.
I'm just a little disappointed in ourselves for not catching this beforehand and taking this off of our list. There have been other films we've taken off for less.
Yeah, we
probably didn't need to do this film.
But it gave us a reason to spend more time on a lot of Disney news that came out this week.
Yeah, there you go. We were able to compensate and still get this into a 45-minute, 50-minute episode.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess that our ratings are going to be the same this time.
I'm just wondering how I can change it so that it's not the same.
I know.
It's not as bad as Mr. Magoo, where that was just an appalling film. So I'm still going to give it a 1 for me. I was trying to think if I should give it like a half or something, but it's not that. It's not
that bad. I think we go below 1 when it's like, this should be stricken from
our memories and all records. Yes, which is Mr. Magoo for sure.
That is Mr. Magoo for sure.
That's Mr. Magoo territory, but it's not that. You listener, do not go see this film. Do not go searching for this film. It is not worth your time unless you really have a really nice OLED big screen TV projector or something in your house and just need content that will be okay for your kids to have on the screen. And
if you need that, go watch some like Disney Nature, National Geographic, Planet Earth. Like these that'd be something. Learn something. Yeah, this is not that. We are in agreement. I am a 1, solid 1. Not the worst thing that we've watched, but definitely not going to watch it ever again. And with that, your life again has forever been changed by this episode of Honey, We Made a Disney Podcast.
Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to your other favorite podcasts. And while you're there, please leave us a 5-star review or share it with your best friend.
And you can check us out at honeywemade.com. There you can see our full movie list. We're getting to the bottom of it, where we are going through all the Disney movies made from 1988 to 2005, including next week as we review one of JB's favorites, Teacher's Pet.
You know me so well, Eddie, but thank you for listening. And remember, you've never seen in your life a horse run like this.